There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want.
Government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Fuck you and your New World Order.
I refuse to go along with this, and I've seen through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. So, if y'all haven't realized, I was supposed to do a show yesterday, and because I was actually moving my office, I didn't get the chance to actually do so. So there's a little bit of changing that had happened, and you're going to see a total different backdrop. See, there you go, different. Everything's different. We moved. We switched rooms. Sadly, this door does not have a door lock to keep Deadpool out, and I don't want him on camera. So what's the best thing? Put something on front of it. He can't get in now. I see that we do have somebody here. Hello, Sunflowers guy. Good to see you. Glad you're here. I forgot to pull up the Rumble side. Do that real quick and make sure there's nobody over there. Nobody. It says there's two watching. Who's ever watching, welcome. Glad you're here. We're going to have some interesting conversation today. If America Shirts actually decides to show up, we'll see if that happens. Go America Shirts. Everybody else knows how to get America Shirts here. You got to chant for them. You got to chant for them. Call them out. Shirts. Let's go. I do have quite a few subjects actually slated for the night. My screens are a little off. Let me fix a couple things. Do a whole change. Everything changes because I got the camera in a slightly different spot. So that way it's more in front of me as opposed to be like right on front of me. Michael Hagan, how's it going, brother? Bonnie Land, howdy from Texas. Glad you're here. We're going to actually hit some news, some world news per se. There's lots of stuff actually happening. Some very interesting subjects to be had. Let's see here. We're not going to stay here all night either. Eventually, we will actually jump over and we'll be on Rumble only. We are live currently on both platforms. This one will actually go away. I don't know, maybe an hour or two. Depends on how quick I make it through these topics. Let's add this to the stream. being that I'm alone, we'll go that way, I guess. There you go. So it says South Korea scrambles jets, fires shots after North Korean drone flies near Seoul. Kind of disturbing to actually think that things in this world are actually escalating to the point of potentially looking at like what could potentially be like a world war of sorts. Really kind of scary in itself to actually think that after watching the predecessor actually go in and actually be able to cross that demilitarized line or whatever, as well as watching Kim Jong Un cross the line, come back, for them to actually get along so well to come back to this type of scariness, to actually think that we've actually de-escalated to the point of looking at potential world war. So it says South Korea deployed jets and attack helicopters on Monday after 5 North Korean drones crossed into airspace, including one that made it into the northern edge of the capital of Seoul. The military fired 100 rounds from helicopters, but did not shoot drones down. The BBC reported one of the attack planes involved later crashed, but its 2 pilots were unharmed. A South Korean official said that the military had lost track of the unmanned vehicles, but they were not in flight. South Korea suspended takeoffs and landings at 2 of its airports for about an hour during the incursion. Tensions are increasing in the Korean Peninsula as the North launched a record number of missiles this year in what communist officials said were practice to attack the South and the United States. North Korea last sent a drone across the border in June of 2017. They did send a drone, but then when it came down to it, that predecessor that we had, Donald Trump, actually went and confronted him and talked to him and actually crossed that DMZ. Both sides did. Both sides to show that they were actually friendly enough with each other to actually prove that this would not become a thing. But here we are, 5 years later, worried about what North Korea is going to do to South Korea, and when they decide to attack, where else they would attack? Because it sounds like they're potentially looking at the United States. Disturbing, scary. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody really. It's really disturbing in itself to actually think that something like that would actually happen or had the potential to occur. Let's all hope and pray that we actually can look past such a thing and hopefully make things better for this world. There's no reason that this world needs to actually be the way it is. We can actually hope and pray for peace. I'm going to take a cold drink here. A little bit of Knob Creek 9-year. It's not the best thing in the world, but it'll get the job done, that's for sure. Make a mess. Let's go ahead and make a mess. Make a mess all over my desk. That's always fun. Space Power Monkey, how's it going, brother? Good to see you. Rah rah, fight the power. I wish that was actually the case, that we could actually just not have whatever's occur, and we could actually just have more people stand up, see what's actually going on in this world, and maybe fix those issues. So as we speak of places in this world that seem to be just de-escalating, there's a couple more places that are actually actually having the same types of issues. There you go. Look at that. Serbia puts troops in full combat readiness as main Kosovo border crossing shut. Serbian officials announced this week that the National Army has been put into the highest possible level of alert as border tensions with breakaway Kosovo have soared to boiling point, and after roadblocks were set up by the Serbian minority living within Kosovo, which they don't recognize as a legitimate state. Following weeks at times, tit for tat, clashes between Serbian protesters and Kosovo police, Serbia said Monday its forces have been put on full state of combat readiness after President Alexander Vučić ordered that all measures be taken to protect the Serbian people in Kosovo. So, you know, every country in this world is now having an issue with other countries that they live near. What the hell? Why is there so many countries that have such an issue with things that are currently going? I just don't get it. I don't get why everybody has to de-escalate to the point of just not being able to be peaceful with each other. This is Serbia's president ordered the Serbian army to be the highest level of combat readiness, that is, the level of use of armed forces. Serbia's defense minister, Milos Vučić, announced in the raised alert level. The president also ordered a special Serbian security response unit to be beefed up, which is a result of thousands of elite troops being positioned near the Ristov border. In response, on Wednesday, Kosovo authorities closed its biggest border crossing. Serb protesters were already blocking it, including with large trucks, leaving only 3 entry points between the two sides open. Some entry points have been blocked since early December. As a result, thousands of Kosovars who work elsewhere in Europe have been unable to travel home or stuck at the border. On the other side, inside northern Kosovo, are about 50,000 ethnic Serbs who say they are prosecuted by Pristina authorities, including an attempt to force Kosovo vehicle plates and state documentation on them. They actually went to the point of actually telling them that they needed to actually change license plates and documentation to show that they're actually citizens of what is now, Kosovo, as opposed to actually being Serbians. So they're like, no, you change your ways, be like us. To Helen back. Hey, Koolfrogg number 945, checking in to say hi. How's it going? Weird Debbie, good to see you. Glad that you're all here. Just going to try pushing on through this particular article here real quick. It's just the Serbs and Serbian side have reportedly been assisting protesters on the Kosovo side of the border in establishing roadblocks. What is this? I got a message. I'll deal with that later. The catalyst of the latest flare-up of the border tension started early this month with the arrest of popular former Serb policeman Dejan Petnik by Kosovo. Kosovo has accused the Serbian ex-police officer, who is now in detention, of committing terrorist acts and attacking the constitutional order. However, this enraged the ethnic Serb population there. Meanwhile, as many geopolitical flashpoints in Eastern Europe and the Balkans, there are allegations of Russian attempts to destabilization campaign given the historic support of Belgrade. Kosovo's interior ministers accused Serbia, under the influence of Russia, of attempting to destabilize his country via the protests. Serbia denies the trying to destabilize its neighbor and says it only wants to protect the Serbian minority living in what is now Kosovan territory, but is not recognized by Belgrade. I mean, if Russia's going to interfere, they might as well just interfere to the point of where they should just take over. They should just take over every little state that they had already owned at one point in time and go ahead and just go right back to where they were. Because what's the point of them being anything but that? It seems as that's where Putin is deciding where he wants to actually go with this anyway. Might as well just continue. Expert check Discord. I did check the Discord. I did see that. It's very disturbing. It's too bad that it happens to be right now at this second that I get to hear about that. Let's hope that he actually finds the assistance and help that he needs, and he can actually have a better life than what he's actually thinking it is. I'm really, really sorry for him, and I feel bad. I really do. I don't know what else to do for him. I really don't. Obviously, there's lots of things that he could actually do to make his own life better. I really, really feel bad for him. Anyway, so finished the article. This is during the Serbian National Security Council held 2 weeks ago under President Vučić. He said he would mull a request for national forces to be sent to Kosovo to protect the Serbs minority, while unlikely, such a confrontation would inevitably spark war. So I mean, like I said, it really seriously sounds like, if it is the fact that Russia's actually the ones that are actually pushing for this to actually occur, to actually make this, something that it really shouldn't be, maybe they need to actually step back for a second and actually think about it. Maybe not. Maybe they need it to be this way so that they can actually continue to do what it is that they are trying to accomplish in all, and trying to actually get back to where they were once, get all the states back that they once had. Do I feel that's the best way to do that? Nah, maybe not necessarily, but it is disturbing in itself. Melissa Jane, how's it going, dear? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Like I said, there's so much stuff that's going on in this world that it seems like we're headed towards some form of like a world war, from one country to the next. Here you go. U.S. trained Afghan troops working to join Russia's war in Ukraine. It seems as they've decided to pick a side, and they're decided to side with the other side. Thank you, Jessica. Sounds like fun. Jessica and Space Power Monkey are actually over on the Rumble side of things, saying that they actually smashed and crushed that plushie. I see that there's 8 people watching over there. All 8 of you should actually be hitting that plushie button for me. All 8 of you. Not just 1, not 2, all of you. All of you at the same time. Pastor, how's it going? How's it going, dude? Nice to catch a live stream. Yeah, I know, right? It seems like since I got this job, I've been unable to actually hold as many as I had been at one point in time. Glad that I'm actually able to actually do this tonight. I will be around tomorrow night as well as Saturday. New Year's party will be had. It should be a fun night. I'm not quite sure if I missed something to do with these fries of sorts, but you all have fun with them thick fries. So anyway, article says thousands of U.S. trained Afghan troops are reportedly considered joining Russian forces as mercenaries to fight in Ukraine as they face a life of poverty in Iran. Interesting. Many of the former service members of living in Iran were where they fled the Taliban seized power of Afghanistan following the U.S. withdrawal in August of 2021. Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty reported Tuesday the former troops say they are now completing manual labor and even rummaging through trash to sell. They reportedly feel abandoned by the United States, which they blame for their current situation. The former troops, many of whom were elite commandos, often say that joining Russia's private paramilitary Wagner Group would be a better option than the struggles they are currently facing. Some former troops are already moving to join, according to WhatsApp messages viewed by the outlet. After the fall of the country's traitorous presidential regime, the United States told us auto surrendered the country to terrorists, the Taliban. One former Afghan special force member said that in WhatsApp channels, several of our peers were captured and beheaded, and we are forced to leave Afghanistan. Oh, really? You just get us, and you're forced to leave Afghanistan because of issues such as either being captured or decapitated. It really sounds disturbing that your best option is to actually go and actually fight for the Russian side of things, because that's the better option. That's the better option because you feel alienated by what the United States had done in Afghanistan. That's very disturbing. So, although the U.S. airlifted an estimated 80,000 at-risk Afghans to a few known security risks, up to 30,000 former Afghan soldiers were left behind and escaped to Iran. One former Afghan officer estimated that 2,500 former soldiers left Afghanistan to go to Russia. He said he has offered 2,500 more 6 months, $2,500 for 6 months of training and an additional 3,000 in Ukraine. Wagner is offering former Afghan special forces a safe haven for them and their families, as well as the $1,500 a month to relocate to Russia and fight in Ukraine. Serious security and economic problems and extreme poverty and desperation have forced them to do this for a bit of bread to survive and to escape the pursuit and torture of the Taliban. Really? So to escape pursuit and torture of the Taliban, they've actually been offered X amount of dollars to actually move themselves to Ukraine or to Russia to go fight in Ukraine. So that way, Russia doesn't have to actually put up their own forces. They can actually just put these guys up front, and they'd be like, "Here you go." Hopefully, you last long enough to actually make it back. That's very disturbing that they find that that's the best option for themselves is to actually go that route because they feel betrayed by us, by the United States. When you feel betrayed by the United States to the point where you're fine with putting yourself on the front line to actually fight against the United States, kind of really makes you wonder what actually all did happen. How far did this actually go? It's really, really disturbing. It really, seriously, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but at the same time, apparently, people that we actually considered our friends at one point in time really actually find it the best way to go. What the fuck? Just what the fuck? You gotta be kidding me right now. It does not make sense whatsoever. We armed them. Yeah, we did. We totally armed them. So what are they gonna fight us with? Or fight against us with? Our own stuff? Our own military might? Really? It's the way it sounded, right? It's really sounding like that's the best option. Could say we funded both sides again. Yeah, exactly, Michael Hagen. You're right on spot with that. Exactly. It really does sound like we could actually be funding both sides of this war, like we did so many times before. So many times that we actually do this, and we just kind of like, it's okay. Kill shot. How's it going, dude? So, from one stupid part of Ukraine to the next, right? Oh, that sucks. To hell and back. I hope you're feeling better soon. Do you see the channel that had a picture of Biden in his Christmas tree and pointed out a bunch of things that didn't seem right about it? Photoshop, maybe? I mean, there's so much, it's so easy to Photoshop almost anything these days. I wouldn't put it past them. Wouldn't put it past them that somebody actually went to the point of actually Photoshopping and doing such a thing. I really wouldn't. Because I can. Rose, how's it going, dear? We have it, family members. Oh, I'm glad you did. Glad you didn't catch it yourself. Be careful. Be careful when you actually get around those other family members that did. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's horrible. All right. That's a good question, Mike. That's a good question. Let's see if she answers it. Yes, they were. That's too bad. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad that they actually went ahead and with that big old plan. It's so disturbing. So here you go. Lavrov says Pentagon threatening to assassinate Putin. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Tuesday lashed out that at what is described as threats coming out of the U.S. to assassinate President Putin, apparently in response to a slew of anonymously sourced reports. There are some anonymous officials from the Pentagon who have actually enunciated threats to deliver a particular decapitating type of strike hit on the Kremlin, which is in fact an assassination threat against the Russian president. That sounds kind of disturbing in itself. Am I for this guy? No. Am I for the other side? Not necessarily. I see what's actually happening there, and I can actually put two and two together, and understand what they're actually trying to do. So, it's just if someone really has such ideas, then this someone should think long and hard about the possible consequences of such plans. The top Russian diplomat warned. The condemnation also came less than a week after Senator Lindsey Graham called for someone to take out to the Russian president of the war in Ukraine to end. Do you think that's really going to stop it? I don't see that being the deal to actually stop it. The office is looking nice. Um, the thank you, Rose. Basically, I moved rooms. I switched from the room across the down the hallway, or whatever, to this one. We kind of just swapped bedrooms out. Uh, there will be a flag here on this wall, and then I'll put one back here as opposed to burying one, hiding one. They'll both be displayed somehow, some way. Not quite sure which one I'll put where, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm excited for it. That should actually come tomorrow, hopefully. As yesterday and today was a lot of the moving and getting this stuff actually in this room, and cleaning up the other rooms so that way um, other things can get moved in there. So it's a slow working process. We've been working on this for the last 3-4 days. Hopefully tomorrow is a good constructive day and I can get a majority of that actually complete. So I mean, really, when it comes down to it, this particular article, when you think about it, the potentiality of actually somebody looking at removing Putin from the face of the planet and thinking that's going to actually end and stop this current war in Ukraine from continuing, I just don't see that actually being a thing. I really don't. I don't see that this is all just Putin. There has to be more to this. There has to be a lot more people that are actually part of this, that are actually forcing this to occur. There's no way it's a one-sided thing that it's just Putin and everything's going through just him. And I get, when you actually look at it, oh, he's the dictator. He's the one that should be. If really, when you think about it, there's a lot more to that. There's a lot more to that. They would have this particular would have war would have occurred a lot sooner had we not had uh, beat out Hillary Clinton. It's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but I really think that has a lot to do with it. I really do think that has a lot to do with it. And in the future, we're going to be looking at something very disturbing and horrible when you realize that it wasn't just one person. I look at my background. You see the filing cabinet? It's actually blocking the door, so a tadpole can't come stroll through the door and just immediately be on camera. Um, it has to be for now until I actually replace the door handle with something that actually locks. Predict 2023 will kick off with a bang. Yeah, that's an interesting thought there, Mike. Tadpoleberry, yep. As far as the prediction goes, on Saturday night when we do the New Year's stream, and there'll be multiple people here, we'll have some form of an open mic where we'll actually take and ask the question, what do you think of 2023? What's actually going to come of it? If you're interested, make sure you check that out, and if we can actually get your actual prediction out that night as well. I mean, I'm really with you on that. Though. I really do think something big is going to happen in 23. There seems to be a lot pointing at it. Even going all the way back to apparently, I was looking through articles today, trying to find something to actually go through here, and it looked like there was something that come up like Nostradamus style. Actually, thought of something happening in the year 2023. So we really usually need to watch and pay attention to what's actually happening. Another channel mentioned outer reach. I'll have to look into that. To put this in here real quick. I'll check it out. And I'll take a look to see what that's about. See what they have to actually say. Sounds very interesting itself. Beaver, how's it going? Is the stream freaking out or just the video? Maybe it's me. Is there something that working? Looks kind of washed out and freezes. Huh. It does look a little grainy over there compared to what the YouTube side actually looks like. Comparably, but either way, hit that plusy button over there. Push that algorithm. Get it out there. To hell and back, I'll definitely take a look at that and see what's actually going on. So then, if it wasn't disturbing enough, I can actually stop this. Let's see. Beaver, it could potentially be you. I really, seriously, I've been watching for the last few minutes and it hasn't froze. It just looks a little grainy. Kind of move on here a little bit. There you go. Zelensky says Ukraine ready to join the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos as it seeks post-war funding. Go figure. You didn't convince me about anything else that was already going on. That like something like this wasn't going to happen. Of course, it was going to happen. We already knew that they were part of this. We already knew that that the World Economic Forum had something to do with a lot of things that are occurring in this world that we live in right now. Thanks, Ash. There you go. You tell them, smash the like button with all your might. There's 9 people here. I really don't know where everybody is. Everybody's still probably watching Good Logic with Greater Logic. I mean, just my thought. It says this one global elites, business, finance, banking, and big government convene in Davos next month at the World Economic Forum annual meeting. Ukraine will be amongst them. Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky confirmed Wednesday his government will be at the meeting in Switzerland, revealing he also spoke again with BlackRock Larry Fink about financing the post-war rebuilding effort. You talking about post-war stuff already? You're just going to assume that you're going to rebuild? You're just going to assume that you're going to actually win? You're going to actually assume a lot of things, and you're just going to go ahead with it because, you're part of the World Economic Forum? What in the fucking hell? Are you kidding me right now? You're just going to go ahead and push for that and just be like, that's the way it's going to be? Right? Exactly. No surprise. No surprise whatsoever that this is actually going to be a thing. Bros, I plus it because you asked us to. Going back to YouTube, and that's the thing is, just, as much as I actually want to stay over on Rumble, I really enjoyed over there. People just really don't care for that platform. They really don't. There seems to be some issues with the platform, and as you can see, Beaver sitting there complaining that it's freezing and locking up for him or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to say. As much as I wanted to actually be something cool, be something good, and not have to worry about being over here on the YouTube side, I don't see myself actually being able to leave the YouTube side. All in all, I'm still gonna have to actually stick around. We don't need no stinking FTX. We got BlackRock. Zelensky's a billionaire. He fits right in. Yeah, we just made him a billionaire. We just made him a billionaire with our tax money. Beaver says it's all good now? Okay, good. Glad that it's actually better. Like the phone app, the chat doesn't work for Rumble. Yeah, I've heard that so many times from so many people. There's so many people actually watch this stuff on their phone because they don't have access to a computer or whatever, or even if they do, they have the tendency to want to be a little bit more mobile. They want to actually move around and hit the play button, listen to it, and if they want to actually join into the chat, they can't listen and actually be over on Rumble at the same time. It's a horrible platform. They need to fix some of their stuff. They really do. This is specialists in the company already helping Ukraine to structure and fund the reconstruction of the state. Zelensky, who had a video call with Fink in September, said in his evening address to the nation, according to Bloomberg, "We didn't say whether we would attend the January 16th through 20th World Economic Forum in person or participate virtually, although in the past he has been a regular attendee at the gathering." A regular attendee. Just no big deal. Don't worry about it. He'll be there. You'll be able to fly him in with no problem. Look at that. That's awesome. $5 from Beaver on Rumble says more rants are needed on Rumble side. Need some cheese to lure people over. Exactly. Even if you're not going to go over there, you're going to hang out over here, go over there. Go sub. If something happens here like it has before, I'll be there still. I'm not going to stop doing a show. I'm always going to be here to do something, somehow, some way. Going over there actually proves the point that that's where people should actually be. It says that I have 1,000 some odd subscribers over here on YouTube, which I'm super excited for. Now is to convince those 1,000 people to actually go over there. Go over there and subscribe over there as well. Even if you're going to stay over here. Because if something happens and they take me away again, like they have so many times before, I'll be there. I'll always be there. That's the fun one. Pam Graham, how you doing, dear? Good to see you. Glad you're with us. Let's see if we can't move on here a little bit. Bloomberg reports Zelensky also said he spoke to Italian Prime Minister Giorgio Meloni and raised the prospect of Italy contributing to the strengthening of Ukraine's air defenses. Zelensky made an appearance via video at the last meeting back in May when he compared his country to Israel in conversation with WEF boss Klaus Schwab. The Ukrainian leader told the Davos organizers that whatever happens in the present conflict with a neighbor like this, namely Russia, anything can happen anytime and the war may repeat itself. Or, maybe you can actually go along with what they're actually asking for and actually just give them the territory that they're wanting back as opposed to eventually succumbing to the whole actual whatever. Am I monetized on YouTube, Beaver? No, not yet. Not yet. I got the second strike that I had because I had 3 of them. They took my stuff away. That's why I was over there. That's why I got such a following. Over there was on the Rumble side was because of the 3 strikes. I got my channel back. I begged and pleaded with them, got it back. The second strike actually fell off at 4 o'clock this morning, the 28th. I actually watched it fall off, and I was super excited when it did. There's only one left. The last one falls off on the 17th of January. 17th of January, I get to apply. Now, am I expecting to actually get monetized straight out? Absolutely, with no doubt. We'll just go along with that. Let's just make that happen. It is. They have killing ethnic Russians. I mean, kind of seems like the Yazidis are actually having something to do with that, isn't it? The things you can say on YouTube you couldn't a year ago. Let's find out what else. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Is as much as I want to stay on YouTube and I actually enjoy everybody over there. I mean, obviously, I'm here, and I'm not changing anything that I've done. I'm always going to continue to do what I've done as much as I possibly can within reason. You know, I won't say certain words to actually kick the algorithms out or whatever. I'll try keeping myself, in my opinion, straddled to a point. I'll do whatever I can. I'll do whatever I can to actually appease to Susan. Fuck you, Susan, and the YouTube overlords. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Azov, yeah, that Azov battalion, right? Azov battalion has something to do with the Nazis, and it's really, really interesting that certain things like this that are actually going on. If you really don't even need to finish the article, we kind of get the point that they're actually going to go through with. I doubt that being that he just came over and spoke inside the White House as well as in front of Congress, that Zelensky will be there in person and will actually deliver his message there. There's no way that he's going to go any other way. He's going to totally do that. I hear Tadpole on the other side of this door. He's really wanting to come in here, but it's not happening. It's not happening. So, being that we're speaking of Putin, this articles must have been flipped on me or whatever. Seeing as we're speaking of Putin and what's actually happening there, that's quite the interesting accident that just so happens to be on the screen. So, Putin critic and his friend found dead in an India hotel. Huh, really? Pavlov Antov, a politician, businessman, and critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin, was discovered in a pool of blood outside the hotel in India days after his friend died in the same hotel. Huh. So far, it seems as Antov accidentally fell from the hotel terrace. Accidentally. He just accidentally he fell off the hotel terrace. Nothing to see here. No, don't worry about it. Everybody has accidents, and so many of us at the same exact place in the same exact way. Man, core mofo, what's going on, brother? Glad to see you. This article, seriously, the first time I read it this morning, I'm like, that's horrible. And I'm still laughing as I'm thinking that's horrible. I'm like, really seriously, when it comes down to it, how is it that can be an accident that these two friends just so happen to die at the same hotel in the same way? It says, quote, so far it seems as Antov accidentally fell from the hotel terrace. The police chief of Eastern Odisha State, Rajesh Pandit, told Agence France Press after Antov's death on Monday, he was probably disturbed by the death of his friend and went to the hotel terrace and likely fell to his death from there. Oh no. Yeah, he was disturbed by the passing of his friend, so he went ahead and he did the same. He felt so bad that he felt that he needed to join. Can you be a Putin critic and friend at the same time? I'm not so positive about that, Beaver. I really don't. I'm watching it on here and YouTube. How did me, a boomer, manage that? Good job, Debbie. Good job. Glad you actually able to make it over there. And keep it up. Keep up them views for me. Keep doing the thing. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Homeless vets, mothers, kids, everyone else, 70% owe more than $1,000 in power bills. Houses are in default, but here, Ukraine, take more money. Let's get this inflation higher. And it's so freaking ridiculous. It's so ridiculous on all aspects of everything that's actually going on. You get these guys that are, tripping and falling over, terraces at the same place and, in the same way, accidentally. I just don't see how they can actually continue to think, oh, we're convinced the masses that, everything's just A-okay. And just continue doing what we're doing. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about your power bills or your home mortgages or anything else. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it whatsoever. It's okay. It's okay because we're gonna get more money. We're gonna get more money out. We're gonna watch inflation grow. We're gonna watch you all struggle and struggle, throughout the rest of your lives. And it doesn't matter. We'll just take it away from you. TR, how's it going, brother? Just got done driving, stopping in, say hi, hit that like button. Got to get up at 8 tomorrow. Make sure need to get out of his coffee and do a show. I really don't know what's going on with him. I mean, I get it. He's got his own, life going on. He's got his own in real life job. And I get it. So I'm not going to force him to do something that he doesn't want to do, but at the same time, with hope that he can actually kind of kick in for a few minutes and maybe we'll see him tonight for a short bit. Allenback says, Mike, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. I usually can't watch it is because it's too depressing and not always truthful. As interesting as that is, it used to actually be where you'd read the news. Newspapers were thick. There's a lot to them because they told you the whole story. Now newspapers are thin. There's one side of the story. They're only telling you the depressing parts to make you feel bad, so that way you actually they don't read it any longer. Because if they can convince you to not read their stuff and not actually follow along with actually going on, all much better for them. Because then they don't have to try convincing you of anything. They don't have to convince you of a dang thing. They can just continue to do what they want. Did you get a new move or did y'all move? No, we switched rooms. So I was down the hallway in the other room. We decided to actually switch it up and move me into this room. Kind of liking it so far. I didn't know if I was going to like it because the size of the room is a little different. It's a little more square as opposed to the other one, more of a rectangle. You'll see within the next day, there should be a flag that should be put up here on this wall, and there'll be a flag put up in the back wall. As opposed to one covering the other, they'll be in their own positions as opposed to, so I don't have to sit there and rip one down. As fun as that was to actually do, now he'll actually see both of them up. Did you ever see Prince Philip's quote from 1988 about reincarnation? Do you have the quote? Can you just share the quote with me so I don't have to go look it up? Weird Debbie says my natural gas bill went way up. Mine did too, but it's because I'm actually running a furnace I'm running a furnace as opposed to not. It almost doubled itself during this season. I just put it up to the fact that I'm actually running it. We'll see how much it changes when it goes back down after the season's over. Sheeple Hunter, hello, how are you doing, dude? Glad you're here. Doing well myself. Thanks for asking. Kind of thinking, we're at the hour mark. I was kind of hoping that Shirts was going to be here about now. And it would go from one side to the other, but I think there's a couple articles that I can just kind of slip away from. Eventually, I am going to shut this side, the YouTube side off. I am going to go over to the Rumble side because there is a few things that I'd like to actually cover over there that I just know there's no way that I'd be able to cover it over here. I just know it. Y'all like what you're actually hearing and seeing, though? Make sure you go over and check out buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg. It's the easiest way to support me right now. You're on the YouTube side. Check a few things real quick before we actually go and move on to the next article. Everyone cheer for free speech. Yes, free speech, Pastor Raptor. Exactly. Free speech. That's what we're here for. We're here for free speech. Thank you, Susan, for telling us what we can and cannot say. Okay, let's see. I think we can cover this. We'll find out. The Supreme Court to decide if states can protect Title 42, leaving policy in place for now. The Supreme Court will hear arguments of whether states can ask courts to preserve Title 42 border safeguards when the Biden administration tries to let the policy die, voting on Tuesday to leave the Trump-era policy in place until it hands down a decision in the case by early summer of 2023. Title 42 allows federal agents to turn away illegal aliens immediately without taking them into custody if the agent believes the alien might have the Koof, even though the number of illegal crossings is at an all-time high. The numbers at the border would be up to double their current levels without the policy in place. With President Joe Biden's clear support, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has called for an end to the border control policy, but the Biden administration has not gone through with the legal process to end the CDC measure. Instead, when left-wing groups sued to end the program, Attorney General Merrick Garland decided not to appeal a lower court ruling against the policy, which would have affected ending Title 42. But 19 states filed a motion to intervene in the case, asking the courts to allow the states to step into the shoes of Biden administration to defend the policy and to issue a stay of a federal trial judge's ruling declaring Title 42 unlawful. Chief Justice John Roberts referred the matter as the full Supreme Court for a vote. The justices on Tuesday decided to grant the stay by a 5-4 vote. The justices also voted to review the case, setting the case for argument to end of February. The sole issue the Supreme Court will decide is whether the 19 states have standing to intervene in court to defend the policy. If the states do, then the matter will go back to the D.C. Circuit Appeals Court for the states to pursue an appeal. If they do not, then Title 42 will end. Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan voted to deny the stay, whereas Neil Gorsuch appointed by former President Trump, dissented from taking the case up for review, joined by Biden-appointed Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Gorsuch dissented on grounds that would resonate with many Republicans, however, noting that Title 42 is based on the health emergency, opining that it is hardly obvious why we should rush into review a ruling in a motion to intervene in a case concerning emergency decrees that have outlived their shelf life. And courts should not be in the business of perpetuating administrative edits designed for one emergency only because elected officials have failed to address a different emergency. Gorsuch added, "We are a court of law, not policymakers of last resort." Exactly. The case is Arizona versus Mayorkas, number 22592 in the Supreme Court of the United States. So it actually points out which case it is. So if you decided you want to actually go to the Supreme Court, again, that's number 22-592, Arizona versus Mayorkas. So they want to actually try ending Title 42, which was, to actually intervene when it came down to a particular illness. So if they remove it, it would just open the borders even further than they already are, allowing more people just to pour into this country without no cares whatsoever. Everybody would just kind of free flow across the southern border. It's really kind of scary and very disturbing when you actually think about it. It really seriously so disturbing that they want to eliminate such a thing and just be like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. With or without 42, it's a shit show. It is a shit show. Because they're not even, are they even using 42? Are they even using it for what it's actually intended for? If they're not using it and they're just allowing people to come across anyway, removing it, is it going to make it anything better? No, it's just going to be more of a shit show. Pan American Empire will ingest Canada and Mexico, build a wall in Panama. Space Bar Monkey. Yeah. I totally remember Grimm's the thought on that one, and actually, it really might just be a good idea to go ahead and do such a thing. Go ahead. What's the point otherwise? Yes, doesn't have representatives. They have rulers. It seems that way, doesn't it? It really does seem that way. It doesn't seem like we're actually being represented in any way, shape, or form. It seems like they're just they've done what they've done. They're gonna continue to make things out the way they want them to be, and it's gonna get horrible. John Jelaine, good to see you, brother. It was cooked chicken, interior temperature of 165 degrees, so you don't get sick from salmonella. It's always something that you should always do for a minimum of 25 minutes. If you don't know how to cook chicken and actually make it right, so that way you don't actually catch salmonella, maybe learn how to cook a little bit better. Try harder next time. Biden beat cray cray. Biden is a psyop. No chance of deportation for no reason. Right, exactly. So, and that's pretty much what it comes down to, right? It is if they take away 42, it would just actually just open it up. It would open it up where they would actually be able to do whatever they wanted. And without consequence, you just, you know, anybody, and it wouldn't just be people that are from these countries that are there. It's like you'd see people being transported from all around the world into Mexico so they can go and walk across the border and catch just as many whatever deals as everybody else. Everybody's just going to get handed, you know, here's your paperwork. Welcome to the United States. Thank you for being a citizen. Let's transport you wherever you want. With two Space Power Monkey over on on the Rumble says, use the soy vide, LOL. Yeah, I mean, you know, boiling chicken in a bag can be fun. Can be it tastes the same. You just have to season it afterwards. If you do Chulo. Biden isn't crazy, he's evil. Are you sure? You sure he's not both? I don't think Biden is evil or crazy. He's not in charge at all. It's people behind the scene. The chief of staff and whatnot running the show. Dr. Joe Biden is clearly Joe Biden's handler. And she wipes his ass too. She wipes his ass too. Exactly. Let's throw a couple things up. Let's throw a ticker up there. There you go. Dude, they're already doing that. Got MF from Africa coming in. They have to take a damn boat to get there, right? It doesn't matter how you get there. As long as you cross the southern border, all's good. Try coming in any other way, they're like, no. And a common tactic of countries sending their undesirables to other countries. I mean, the non-existent country of Australia is, you know, a good point of that in itself. Joe Biden grabbing Zelensky's ass makes him the highest paid whore in history. $100 billion. Good one, Space Power Monkey. Biden's evil been for decades? Yep. For a long, long time. Anybody that didn't realize it wasn't paying attention, didn't watch him actually lose presidency twice due to plagiarism, didn't watch him actually go and push through the Senate as many bills as he actually did, the 88, 96, 90, 94, drug and crime bills, worst things that he's ever done. And now he's sitting there freaking eating his own words as he's actually sitting there and being strung up and played like a little puppet. Mayorkas is from Cuba. I wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it. I think the only thing good about that would be he can't actually run for president. Oh. Obama. Hawaiian, right? So speaking of that, we're speaking of migrants coming across the southern border. There you go. Greg Abbott says Texas has bused nearly 16,000 migrants to sanctuary cities this year. Oh, dang. Which political party founded the Triple K? Yeah, that's the Democratic Party. That's the Democratic Party. I seen that when it was trending, yesterday or whatever again. I'm like, yeah. I mean, we all know. We all know that, Michael Hagan. If we didn't know that, maybe we need to go back to school. And then, there's some of them that are like, oh, but the party switched. Nah, just those three Dixiecrats, right? Yeah, exactly. Don't lie to me. Lie to me, I'm gonna freaking call you out for your lies. Kids like to sit in the lap and rub his hairy legs or whatever's weird thing. Corn Pop was a bad dude. I'm going to read this article here. Governor Craig Abbott on Tuesday said that the state has bused nearly 16,000 migrants to sanctuary cities this year. Texas has bused over 15,900 migrants to sanctuary cities, Abbott wrote on Twitter. It provided relief to local communities overwhelmed by President Biden's open border policies. Since April, the Republican governor has transported at least 8,900 migrants to Washington, D.C., 4,900 to New York City, 1,500 to Chicago, 630 to Philadelphia, and busloads to Kamala Harris's front door. Late Saturday, 3 busloads of migrants from Texas arrived in Washington, D.C., where they were dropped off outside the Naval Observatory. Local relief agencies were on hand to assist the estimated 110 to 130 migrants who arrived near Vice President Kamala Harris's home. Blankets were provided for those without coats. The temperature was in the teens when the migrants arrived. Organizers quickly moved them into awaiting buses that took them to nearby church, where they're provided with meals and clothing. This is a welcome effort that we've been doing since the first bus arrived, Amy Fisher, the organizer of the Migrant Solidarity Mutual Aid Network, told WJLA News. DC just continues to show up as a welcoming city that is always ready and willing to open their arms to welcome people, whether it's Christmas Eve, whether it's 9 degrees outside or 90 degrees outside. Sure. She was excited for that to happen. She was excited for them to be dropped off in front of her front door. I'm sure she was. I'm sure she's super excited. Earlier this month, Mayor Oscar Lacer, Democrat of El Paso, Texas, declared a state of emergency, allowing the city more resources and authority to handle the influx of border crossings. Lesser warned last week that approximately 20,000 migrants were waiting to cross into the United States from Mexico upon the expiration of the Trump-era Title 42 program. The program allows officials to quickly expel migrants who cross the border illegally during a pandemic. U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday granted an emergency request for 19 Republican state attorneys general who asked the High Court to defend the rule that was struck down last month by Judge Emmett Sullivan of Washington, D.C. Sullivan was appointed to serve as a federal judge by President Bill Clinton in 1994. Title 42 will remain in place until at least spring, allowing the High Court to further review the decision. Yeah, well. Last week, Abbott sent a letter to President Joe Biden demanding the deployment of federal assets to address the dire border crisis, particularly in the city of El Paso, according to news release. With cold temperatures gripping Texas, your inaction to secure the southern border is putting the lives of migrants at risk, particularly in the city of El Paso. This terrible crisis for border communities in Texas is a catastrophe for your own making. These communities and state are ill-equipped to do the job assigned to the federal government. House and thousands of migrants flooding into the country every day. Abbott said he would continue working with authorities to protect the state from an influx of illegal immigrants and cartel activity along the border. original article came from the Epoch Times, which I am not paid for, which this allows me to actually continue to read it. But again, on that section 42, or title 42, whatever it is, disallowing illegals to actually move themselves across the border with, if they were actually infected, or if they were actually, there's something to do with anything that was related to the quote unquote pandemic, then you really seriously should stay right where you're at. Don't come any further. We don't want you here, because then we have to actually it's going to cost us even more money to actually take care of you. We don't want to do that. We really don't. Got to get up in 5 hours. Good night, everyone. Night to hell and back. You have a wonderful night. Sleep well. Hopefully everything goes well for the rest of your family, and you can actually eventually celebrate Christmas. Push Daka. Thanks, sweet dreams, everyone. She's a kid officially. There's plenty to go off here. Let's see. Kind of move on a little bit from that particular topic to the next. This is a no plan B. House Republican criticizes plans to block McCarthy's speakership bid. One House Republican is criticizing his fellow GOP lawmakers for threatening to vote against House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's bid to become the next House Speaker, maintaining that there's no plan B. Representative David Valeda, Republican out of California, denied whispers that McCarthy might not have the majority support needed to secure the Speaker's gavel, arguing most Republicans in the House want to see him in the top leadership position. His comments come amid a growing opposition toward McCarthy's speakership, as some House Republicans have posed direct challenges to the nomination, with others quietly considering other contenders. Quietly? Who? Who's the contender? We all want to know. You're representing us. You should let us know who's the contender. Who's the contender, so that we can actually voice our opinions to our representatives, to our senators, and everybody else that's actually going to actually vote on this shit, and tell us exactly who these representatives are that are actually going to contend it. Who's better off at this job than this piece of crap? This rhino. Kevin McCarthy's not the answer. He's not. You got to tell us who it is. Who's the contender? We want to know. I said we send all help Ukraine. I think they need all the help they can get. Send them enough. Quit sending them shit. Obama did build those cages. He totally built those cages. Those cages were totally built in 2014. We seen it. We watched it. You're not going to lie to me and tell me that it didn't happen in 2014. It should be the most junior representative. I kind of agree with you on that one, Pastor. It should not be one of these establishments that representatives that's been there for years. It should be somebody new, somebody fresh, somebody that's going to actually, put a little bit of oomph in things, maybe actually spice things up a little bit, shake it around a little bit, make it a little bit different than what it ever had been. You keep on putting in these old, washed up beings in there, whatever. I just don't see it being good. I really don't. To secure the gavel, McCarthy needs a majority voting members in the case, 218 lawmakers to vote for him when his nomination goes before the entire House floor in January. The GOP will hold a 222-213 advantage in the House for the next 2 years, giving McCarthy little room for error. Exactly. Very little space. As little space as he possibly has to actually come up and actually be the speaker. Do I think he's going to become the speaker? Most likely. Most likely he's already bought himself in. There's no chance that he didn't already buy himself in. I don't see it actually going and being some long drawn out and see who we can actually finally pull up to actually do this. I just don't see it being such a thing. It says at least 5 GOP lawmakers have publicly said that they won't back his speakership. McCarthy told McCarthy can't afford to lose more than 4 votes, or else he risks sinking his chances at the when the House meets to vote on January 3rd. Again, that's January 3rd. January 3rd is coming up real quick here. We're on the 28th right now. Some of us are on the 29th. I know it's getting close to that time. That time to be the next day. When it comes down to it, if he needs 4 of them and there's 5 of them that are rallying against him, I just don't see it happen unless he can actually go and he can pay them off. If he can pay off any one of these 5 guys, he's got it. He just needs to pay one. And I don't see him not paying him. I really think that he will actually pay pay to play. He's gonna pay. He's gonna pay whatever he has to actually get that seat to actually become the Speaker of the House yet one more time. At least 5 GOP lawmakers have publicly said that they won't back his speakership. The McCarthy can't afford to lose more than 4, or else he risks sinking the chances of the House meeting to vote on January 3rd. That list includes Representative Bob Good, Andy Biggs, Matt Gaetz, Ralph Norman, and Matt Rosendale. Now, why it's only these 5 that are against voting for him, I really don't get it. There should be quite a few more that are actually up there that are like, no, we don't want McCarthy. We don't want anything to do with this guy. This guy's not the answer to our questions. We don't want it to be him whatsoever. Please stop him. Stop him where, as fast as we possibly can. I prefer Republicans be penalized. Let someone else get speaker. They didn't earn it and need to learn a lesson. Beaver, you do have a good point on that. Yeah, I do agree. There needs to be something that actually is bigger and better that needs to happen to actually make this actually be what it is, or change the way it is, so it doesn't become the way it had always been. Putting these strongholds like McCarthy in place and actually just allowing them to continue. I don't see us stopping funding things like Ukraine. I really don't. We're just gonna. You put somebody like him in place. I really see more and more billions of dollars being pushed and laundered and put back. It's just my opinion, but I don't see it being any other better way. I really don't. This is quote, there's a larger group of us that want to see Kevin McCarthy as leader, even though he might disagree on specific policies, on rhetoric, on different things. But the reality is there's no one that worked harder to get us where we are today with a Republican majority. Exactly. There's nobody that's worked with. He needs to. I really don't see him being the answer, though. I just don't. But if he doesn't agree, if he disagrees on so many things, what would make you think that he's the best person for the job? That it's okay just to put him in place because, well, he's worked for it. What? Nah. Like Pastor said, most junior representative. Yep, let's do it. Person that's been there the least amount of time, person that has no clue about how deep things really actually are. Put that person in charge. Put that person in charge and see what they can actually shake up. See if they can't change things, change the way things have always been. As McCarthy seeks to fend off inter-party opposition, several Republicans are reportedly huddling behind another top member of their party for a possible leadership challenge. A group of lawmakers has approached number 2 Republican Representative Steve Scalise about running for House Speaker in the next Congress should McCarthy's bid fail, telling him to just be ready. Going down the line and being like, well, number 1 didn't work, let's try number 2. No. Let's try number 220. Let's try number 220. See what number 220 will actually do for us. Scalise could offer an agreeable alternative to McCarthy as House Speaker, but the closed-door conversation could put Scalise in a difficult position. Publicly, the Louisiana Republican has declined to comment on the matter, instead pointing to previous statements he made endorsing McCarthy and maintaining he would not run against him. Steve Scalise, a good friend of mine, Vallejo said, but he himself and many others have said they're supporting McCarthy and will continue to support McCarthy. Again, there's no plan B here. The plan is to get him elected as Speaker. At the end of the day, we could be there 2-3 days. It doesn't really matter. The majority of the conference understands that without him, we wouldn't even be having this debate. Really? I don't see that being the best deal for us. It's gonna get very disturbing when we actually see that it only took 2-3 days and still put McCarthy right back into the position that he's in. We need to actually remove him from that spot and let's try somebody new. I'm not saying Steve Scalise because obviously they're saying, oh, he's number 2. I mean, maybe he's just that, number 2. Beaver says McConnell has to go as well. Yes, he does. The problem is they pay their way in to these positions, and there's so many people that are unaware of the situations that are going on, and they're just like, oh, it's McConnell. I know that name. Mark him off. He's there. Or it's McCarthy. There, give him the job back. What? Stop, like you just said, stop electing these idiots. We just keep on putting these rhinos into place. It's not going to be anything good. And nothing's good going to come from this at all. When you actually see that, I'm going to say it, when McCarthy takes the spot and takes this position again, watch what happens first. Watch what happens first. When they don't try to impeach, when they go in ahead and they write up another bill to give Ukraine more money, it's right there. It's right in front of us. We see it happening. We see it. We see it right there. We see clear as day. It's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. They're going to continue to push their will against the us Americans, and they're going to actually make it what they want. Scalise has not been organizing support or making calls related to a possible speakership bid. According to Politico, some conservatives have hinted they would back the Louisiana Republican should he run, but maintained there is a list of other possible contenders they may consider. Who? It's not clear who Republicans would present as an alternative nominee to McCarthy, although Biggs has already announced a challenge to the minority leader's bid. If no candidate wins a majority of the votes cast during the roll call vote at the beginning of the Congress, the House will repeat the roll until a speaker is elected. Congress has not had to repeat a roll call vote to elect the House Speaker since 1923. Holy crap. 100 years and you still haven't been able to figure it out? You're just going to keep on pushing the same people right into their spots? It's horrible. There you go, Beaver. It's a disgrace. Change the rules so that the gavel automatically to the most junior person, the least corrupted and still human being instead of a swamp creature. All rhinos must go. That's a good thought there, Pastor. That's a really good thought. Will it actually happen? Probably not. It's probably going to continue to do exactly what they've been doing. If no candidate wins a majority of the votes cast during the roll call, I just read that one. 1923. McCarthy was vowed not to back down, noting he would go through several rounds of ballots until he wins the speaker position. So, who has he paid? Who has he paid to actually get this spot? We'll find out on the 3rd when he goes and he gets the spot handed to him. There isn't a single person that's going to back down and be like, nah, I'm not voting for you. I'm not voting for you. Let's not make it happen. Everybody's just like so for it. Let's just make it happen. Horrible. So, Democrats are dumb. Democrats are freaking stupid as shit. So, we've watched how stupid they actually are. We've seen Republicans be just dumb, but Democrats are dumb as fuck. Biden signs bill to remove bust of Chief Justice who authored Dred Scott decision. Former Supreme Court Chief Justice Roger Taney's 1857 Dred Scott opinion said Black Americans were not citizens and could not sue in federal court. Anybody know about this person? Anybody know who Justice Roger Taney was? That quote unquote Democrat? They're just like, oh, let's remove history. Let's remove some more history because if we can continue to remove history, we can continue to make it repeat itself. That's basically what they're doing. It's not going to repeat itself if they learn from it. So if they're going to learn from it, let's remove it. This says President Biden signed a bill on Tuesday to remove the bust of former Supreme Court Chief Justice Roger Taney, author of the infamous Dred Scott decision from the Capitol building. The bill, which passed the House and Senate unanimously earlier this month, instructs the bust to be replaced with one of Justice Thurgood Marshall. Democrats don't learn from their own bullshit mistakes, and they continue to put more people and heightened more people that they never backed before. They're trying to, well, if we actually let's do this, and it makes it look like we were actually the good people. If we remember the Civil Rights Act, and we actually go back and we actually paid attention to the Civil Rights Act, it was Democrats that filibustered against it for how many days? Democrats didn't want it. Democrats are the ones that are pushing for some stupid ass shit to remove history and replace it with somebody else from history so that they can make it look like they're the ones that were in the good. Democrats are dumb as fuck. Anybody that's out there that doesn't realize how stupid Democrats really are needs to go grab a history book and actually look at what the Democrats have actually done and what they continue to do. If we can remove history, we can change them, and they'll never remember freedom even existed. Then there was a world that there was a world before. I'm not sure what that thag is supposed to be. Guessing it's a typo there, bro. But yeah, exactly. Removing history and replacing it with some other history, it doesn't actually fix it when you actually don't replace it with the right history. People remember things. People are going to learn things. You see these books behind me? Every single one of these books behind me that are in the shelves, because the Bible at the top is in the book. It's a Bible. The rest of these books, there's history books. There's multiple history books in there. There's multiple history books to the point of when you actually look up these people that they're actually putting in place, and you realize what they're actually trying to do, you just you're an idiot. You're going to replace one Democrat with another Democrat because that Democrat was a little bit better than the other? Nah, they all suck. Every single one of them. The bill, which passed the House and Senate unanimously earlier this month, instructs the bus to be replaced by Thurgood Marshall. The president thanks several Democratic lawmakers who ushered the bill through the Congress, including Senators Cardin, Holland, Klobuchar, Booker, Hoyer, and Clyburn, all Democrats. While the removal of the Chief Justice Roger Brooke Taney's bust from the Capitol does not relieve the Congress of the historical wrongs it committed to protect the institution of slavery, it expresses Congress's recognition of one of the most notorious wrongs to have ever taken place in one of its rooms, that of Justice Roger Brooke Taney's Dred Scott and v. Sanford decision. So freaking dumb. Trucker John, how's it going, brother? Good to see you. Glad you're here. So they're going to take and they're going to remove this Democrat because of his bullshit that he did with the Dred Scott decision. They're going to replace him with another Democrat. It just... The bill acknowledged that Taney's 1857 Dred Scott decision declared that African Americans were not citizens of the United States and could not sue in federal courts. This decision further declared that Congress did not have the authority to prohibit slavery in the territories. But yeah, we did. Thank you to those Republicans that were out there. Taney's opinion, who legally binded into the United States, ratified the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments into the Constitution, which outlawed slavery, granted citizenship of African Americans, and guaranteed equal protection under the law, and extended the right to vote to former slaves. Oh, all put in place by who? Oh, Republicans. Jimmy YouTube, what's up, brother? Good to see you. I haven't seen you all day. Glad that you're here, brother. I mean, there's several of us. There's several of us that hang out in Discord on a regular basis. And when you actually know who these people are and who we actually talk to, who we actually hang out with, when you don't see them all day, you kind of have a tendency to miss them. It's kind of weird. Thurgood Marshall was an inspiration who helped tear down the walls of segregation in America. It is wholly appropriate that such a civil rights and legal icon displace Roger Taney as the U.S. Capitol. Ben Cardin, Democrat of Maryland, said in a statement that the Senate passed the bill. Both hailed from Maryland, but Marshall was a beacon of hope for racial equality. His uplifting voice in equality and opportunity is exactly what our nation needs at this moment. The bust of Taney, the nation's fifth Chief Justice, who led to the court in 1836 to 1864, currently sits inside the entrance of the old Supreme Court chamber in the U.S. Capitol, where the High Court met in 1810 until 1860. Statues of Taney were previously removed in his home state of Maryland. The legislation directs the removal of the bust within 45 days of the bill being enacted into law. It will then remain in custody of the Senate curator. It also calls for entering into an agreement to obtain a bust of Marshall within 2 years, and that priority of its location should be near the old Supreme Court chamber. Again, Democrats removing a Democrat to replace it with another Democrat to actually remove a potential, knowledge of history is just idiocy in itself. Stop removing our history so that you can refuse to learn about history so that you can continue to repeat history. It's just so freaking stupid. So stupid on so many levels that they're going to actually go ahead and they're going to remove somebody and replace them with somebody else. That was just, that was against it, it just mind blowing. Slaves don't need to know history. Got food in or hop on? Yeah, I mean, I got you. It's okay. I just when you remove one part of history because you're like, oh, that Democrat was stupid. Let's replace him with this other Democrat because us as Democrats are gonna make it seem so much better. It's just so freaking stupid. Brainless idiocy. Without history, how would they know what a slave is? And that's what they're trying to basically do, is they're just trying to remove the history so that they don't have to worry about learning about it. They don't have to worry about learning about it at all. One of these days, these history books that are sitting right here, there's a couple of them that are laying on their side. I have one of them like completely and totally marked out, like throughout the whole book about slavery, about the history of slavery. One of these days, I'll actually just do an episode on just that. I might not be able to do it on YouTube. I might have to actually do it over on Rumble, but one of these days it will happen. It will totally happen. Sounds like Masonics. Without history, yeah, I already read that one. Let's see here. So, actually, before I move on to another Democrat, let me do another shot. Do another shot of this Knob Creek 9-year. It's not the best. It works. Does the trick. So, cheers. Tasty. Adam Schiff says he may be leaving the house. Yay! No more Shifty Schiff. Has a new job in mind. Let's see what he's actually thinking. Democratic California Rep. Adam Schiff may be planning to leave the House and take on new horizons. During an appearance on KTTA's The Issue, host Alex Mickelson asked Schiff about campaigning for a spot in the U.S. Senate. It is widely expected that California Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is 89, will retire at the end of her term. Yeah, she will. 2 years. 2 years, she's done. If she makes it. Will retire at the end of the term. You have expressed interest in that job. Is there any reason you would not run for Senate? The host asked. Well, not usually asked the question in that form. Look, I'm getting a lot of encouragement to run for Senate from people in California and colleagues here in Congress. If Senator Feinstein retires, then I'll give it a serious consideration. You know, at this point, I think we're waiting to see what Senator Feinstein has to say about her plans. But yes, it is something I'm giving serious consideration to, Schiff responded. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, who is expected to become Speaker when Republicans take control of the House in January, is vowing to remove California Democrat Adam Schiff from his House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. That's a good spot for him. Let's go and put Shifty Shift in the intelligence. Another change you're going to get, Adam Schiff will no longer be on the Intel Committee when I become Speaker. I promised that more than 2 years ago, McCarthy said during an interview with Fox News. Democrats also use the Intel community as well to lie to the American public. Should those people keep their clearances? Should those people still be allowed to have information? If they're going to be political individuals, then no, they should not. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. If what we need to investigate going forward, he added. Last month, McCarthy said that he elected Speaker, that if elected Speaker, he will also remove Democratic Reps Eric Swalwell and Ilhan Omar from congressional committees for past conduct. Ilhan Omar shouldn't even exist. Just saying. Her role as a representative is put there by somebody by the likeness of Obama in allowing 70,000 migrants, Islamic Muslims or whatever, to be put into one county in Minnesota. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to go and take over a whole county because you're like, hey, let's just go and put these people here. They'll vote for who I want. We'll put whoever we want in that place, and that's where it will always be. She shouldn't be in that spot. She should be removed. During the interview with Fox News with host Miria Bartiromo, McCarthy spoke about Republicans winning back control of the House in the midterm elections. McCarthy, who appears poised to be nominated as the Speaker, said he will honor his promise to boot the 3 controversial Democrats. I mean, he's only going to be able to boot them from committees. You can't remove them completely. They will always just be there. The space bar monkey. Biden went to school before they were desegregated. Can I turn my mic volume up? See, now you're the first person to actually say that my mic volume is a little low. As opposed to putting my microphone on front of my face, it's actually about an arm length away from me. It's behind my speaker. I'll see what I can actually do. Everybody else has been not having an issue yet. So, settings, audio. Let's turn it up just a little bit for you. Anybody else that think that it's a little loud? Let me know. Let me know if the volumes are okay. And maybe we can adjust from there. Term limits, 10 years in government. That's it. You aren't allowed to do it anymore. These career criminals or politicians, and I've always been an advocate for term limits. I really have. And every single time that I've brought up term limits, it's always been put in my face the same exact way. The same exact way is if you put term limits on them as opposed to them actually going for 20, 30 years at a time, sometimes longer. You got Biden's been there for 60 years doing the same bullshit. When you put term limits in place, the corruption doesn't go away. The corruption stays. It's just that they're even more corrupt because they're going to try getting the monies they can in a shorter period of time, as opposed to actually getting it. There's lots to go along with that. So I mean, I'm with you on the term limit thing. I think it should be a thing, but what's vote better? That's the thing. We need to vote against the bullshit, against the deep state crap. Actually do our research on who we're voting for to actually put the right people in place. If you can't gerrymander borders, just install an entire Somalia diaspora. Yeah, there you go. Might be because I'm on Discord and watching on the phone. No, it's fine. I did turn it up a little bit. Let me know if it's, the rest of you, let me know if this is too loud, if I'm blurring and you have to turn me down. I don't want that to be, be a thing where everybody has to adjust themselves. I'd like to be able to just come in to your settings. Congressman, let me ask you about your decision. Should you become the Speaker of the House in January? What are you going to do in terms of the Democrats that are in such important committees? They talked about the past about removing. I'll hand to Omar about Ilhan Omar. You've talked about removing Adam Schiff, about Eric Swalwell. Will you deliver? Bartarama asked McCarthy. Yes, I will. I'll keep that promise. And one thing I've said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector. Why would we ever give him security clearance in the secrets of America? So I will not allow him to be on Intel. I mean, when you go around sleeping with Bang Bang Fang Fang, whatever that Bang Fang that's over there, you really seriously shouldn't be in an Intel committee. You shouldn't have the information to be able to share with other countries. You have Adam Schiff, who has lied to the American public time and time again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel committee either. Look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward, they're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs. But we're also going to stand up for what's happening, not just in the halls of Congress, but what's happening to our higher education institutions. The anti-Semitism that's going on in these campuses and others. We'll investigate that as well and stop this to make sure that America does have the freedoms that we said we would keep and we would stand up to. It is we move forward, McCarthy declared. McCarthy said he planned to remove Omar from the House Foreign Affairs Committee over several past anti-Semitic remarks. We watch anti-Semitism grow, not just in our campuses, but we watched it grow in the halls of Congress. We told the Republican Jewish Coalition's 2022 leadership meeting in Las Vegas, I promised you last year that as Speaker, she will no longer be on foreign affairs, and I'm keeping that promise. He said to an audience as the audience cheered. McCarthy tweeted, the Speaker does not have the power to remove a member from a standing committee. Foreign Affairs is a standing committee. Each party has their own rules and procedures for assigning committee roles. Only a majority vote by the entire House could remove Rep. Omar. So even though he says he's going to go ahead and do things, McCarthy still does not have the right to completely remove these people from committees. He still has to have the majority of the people behind him actually removing these said people from these committees. Does he really have the backing? I don't see it. I really don't. I think that there's going to be some major issues come forward out of McCarthy being, put in place. Let's see here. Pastor says, yes, agreed, but we also get the limitations placed on the idiots who can't balance a damn budget much less pass constitutional laws, massive overhaul of government from the ground up. Yeah, when the government stops working for us, we need to replace the government. I'm totally behind that statement in itself. It's just not working, and we need to actually replace it. We need to replace it with a government that will work for us. Swallow always comes up grinning. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Space Power Monkey says we need to spend the time and civic organizations that hold politicians accountable. We've lost that with the decline of Masons, Shriners, and churches, etc. Yeah, you have a really good point. Space Power Monkeys never actually steered me in the wrong direction. Space Power Monkey will be joining us New Year's Eve. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. He will be there for some point in time. Bonnie Land says, "Cheers, cheers to you. Glad you're here. Welcome and enjoy the show." I don't know. I guess we're just going to continue to script lines with YouTube because we can. Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. Whoopi Goldberg faces calls to be fired after more controversial Holocaust comments. Oh no. Jewish activists and others are furious with comedian Whoopi Goldberg, who is one of the hosts of the ABC's daytime show, The View, after she made her comments about the Holocaust after previously apologizing for similar remarks. The actress was suspended from The View around 10 months ago for claiming that the Holocaust was not about race. She apologized for the comments, but in the new interview with the UK paper The Sunday Times, it appears her apology may not have been sincere. Remember who they are killing first. They're not killing racial, they're killing physical. They're killing people that are considered to be mentally defective, and then they've made a decision. Mentally defective? Are you kidding me right now? That's not what it was. It was because they had different thought than them Yahtzees. That's exactly what it was. Journalist Janice Turner explained to Goldberg, whose real name is Karen Elaine Johnson, that there was race laws that Yahtzees created against Jews and said that Yahtzees saw Jews as a race. Yes, but that's the killer, isn't it? The oppressor is telling you what you are. Why are you believing them? They're Yahtzees. Why believe what they're saying, she said. It doesn't change the fact that you could not tell a Jew on the street. You could find me. You couldn't find them. But you would have thought that I'd taken a big old stinky dump on the table, butt naked. Well, I'm hoping you took your clothes off if you're taking a stinky dump. Pull your pants down at least. Come on. You know better. She said in reference to the comments that got her suspended from The View. Whoopi, 1 million Jews were murdered in Auschwitz alone. So, take a lesson from the Auschwitz Museum. Hitler targeted Jews for annihilation, arguing that we are a distinct and inferior race. Stop distorting history. It's offensive. And every Jew murdered in the Holocaust. So, again, she come back with it again, saying it all over again how stupid and uneducated the people actually were. That, is the reason why it was okay for them to actually go ahead and proceed with such a thing. Ashkenazi Jews have more genetic drift than African blacks, more than enough to be considered a separate race. If blacks are a race, Jews are as well. Yeah, exactly. But according to Whoopi Goldberg, that's not true. That's not true because they're just white. They're white, just like the others. It's like, no, Whoopi, you freaking idiot. And I think that article was supposed to be down further because I go on and look at the next couple of articles and I'm like, yeah, that would have made more sense to actually be next. Yeah, we're gonna have to go away on the YouTube side pretty soon here. Like that was a little drastic. That was almost to that point of being like, oh, did he just talk about that? Yeah, I kind of did. I kind of skirted them lines just a little bit close. That being said, that is the 2-hour mark anyway. So 2-hour mark YouTube. If you have not already, make your way over to the Rumble side. There is a couple more things that we're actually going to cover, things that I seriously cannot, no matter what. I skirted a little bit there. I like, let's see what YouTube actually allows me to get away with. Just before a nice big show coming up. So that being said, YouTube side, thank you all very much for being there. Make sure you make yourself over to the Rumble side. We are going to actually be over there and there alone. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being there. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Share this out with your friends. Share it to your neighbors. Share it to everybody that needs to hear anything that actually came out of this tonight. Make your way over to the Rumble side. Subscribe over there. Be there when things go bad again. Because things ever go bad over here ever again, that's where we'll be. I will fight and I'll come back. I'll come back again. But for now, I'm actually going to make my way over there. If you want to support me immediately, please go to buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg. There is a PayPal link down in the description. Also in the description is actually the Rumble side, the show itself. You can go copy, paste that link into your browser, go jump over there, go and join the conversation, stay with us, and we're going to actually cover some, just to give you a bit taste of what we're actually talking about. There's some impeachment stuff. There's some Koof talk. There's some licensing talk to go along with drag shows. There'll be a little bit of fun at the very, very end. There's also some CDC guidelines to go along with LGBTQ, as well as charity claims of math with the LGBTQ stuff. There's also some cobalt mining, Congolese slavery, and there's a particular website that was actually brought up to me in somebody else's stream. If I had heard of upcycling of humans, and we will actually cover some of that as well with a particular website aimed at that particular project. That being said, thank you all so very much. Don't forget to help support, show the love, hit the like button, share this out, do all that fun stuff, all that YouTube-y fun stuff. Thank you all so very much. I'm going to actually say bye to each one of you that actually said goodbye. Michael Hagan, come on over. We'll go for at least another hour, maybe. Americans is a pretty broad description. Yeah, it can be. No, I just got it. Oh, sorry, Heidi. Get over hit that link that's down in that description line. Go over there. Go join me over on the Rumble side. It's totally worth it. Even if you can't comment, you can't do whatever. It's okay. It's okay. Knowing that there's some people there that actually want that to actually work, more and more people will actually get over there, and they will eventually fix those issues. Pastor, I'll see you in a few, hopefully. Rose, love you, dear. Thank you for being around. You have a good night. Debbie and Jimmy YouTube. Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll see you in a few. Maybe not. We'll see. That being said, thank you all so very much. Have a wonderful night. Later.